The collage work I'm doing now is by its nature an approach to a problem from multiple perspectives. It's a way to take a variety of symbols and feelings, different approaches, and continuously rearrange them and reflect on them, and to try to make a cohesive body of work from fractured parts. Um, in many ways, this activity mirrors other aspects of my life. So the word fracture, it keeps coming up for me so often. I use it to think about fractured parts, fractured images, fractured time. I'm constantly trying to put things back together. So in that way, this work feels really pretty honest. I think my earlier work was when I was still didn't have a diagnosis. I was still sort of struggling my way through with my health. I think that work was much more upfront about disability than the work I'm creating right now. Um, I have ankylosing spondylitis, which is a chronic inflammatory disease of the spine and other joints. The subject matter of my earlier work um, really addressed the physical problems. I did a whole series of drawings and collages and prints that were spines because it was clear at that point that something was wrong with my spine and then indirectly with the nervous system through which goes through your spine. So I was doing work about that. The subject matter now is still about difficulties. It's still about struggling with or overcoming difficulties. I think it's much more metaphor now and less direct, but it's in there. Maybe only the people who know me or know what I'm going through see it as clearly now. The process that I do to create work is also really reflected um, in there. The this is for good reasons and bad reasons. For a while, I was really in denial about the problems that I was having, so I created work that was more intricate, more time consuming, more challenging on me physically. That in a way to prove that I could still do it. Um, and this really took a toll on me physically and emotionally. So the collage work was something that was done at the same time, or sort of alternating through all those other projects. Um, it was a way to work with a different approach. It allowed for different activities. It was in response to how I can work more easily now because it's fragmented in its approach, and it allows me to work differently on different days. It gives me more room to be productive in a variety of ways. So, what are some of the things that you've learned from working with a disability? Wow, these lessons have been very hard. I have learned that making changes to my approach doesn't mean giving up. I continue to learn to listen to my body, to know when I'm pushing myself too far, to figure out ways to work differently, to find different materials to work with, different techniques for working that are a bit more forgiving than what I was doing before. And I'm still struggling with that, 6 years, 6 or 7 years into this. And I guess I guess I'm also learning to be kinder to myself, to not be so angry about what I feel I'm losing, um, or with a pace that I can create work. I struggle with that too. I'm stubborn, and any of few that know me know that I'm stubborn, and that can be really good when you're dealing with adversity. Um, it helps you fight for things that are important to you, um, but it also can be not so good when it becomes fighting for the sake of fighting, um, and not allowing myself to take an easier route at times. So I have been very lucky that I have good people around me and good people in my life, like Len and my son and a few close friends and studio mates that they give me a good reality check every once in a while and remind me of what I need to do for myself. No, I don't really feel comfortable. That's a mixed answer, I guess. I'm really comfortable talking to my friends about my disability. Many of them are dealing with their own things, and I don't know if I would be able to have gotten through all this without their friendship, without their support. Sometimes I talk to my students about it, often because it's easier to explain it on days when I'm having trouble moving around easily or having trouble standing in the classroom. So it's easier to sort of explain what's going on to the students that I'm working with at that time. Um, and I've been making work about this disability, these problems for years, but I didn't show it to anyone except for those friends. And so the idea of showing it publicly, I didn't do that until this last year in the first visibility show. And that was after a whole lot of deliberation and discussion with one of my studio mates about just how much was I ready to share with the world. I, I probably stressed over that more than I needed to. But I've had a few students in the past few years that have used the subject matter of their disability, of what they were struggling with in their artwork, and sort of been along the journey with them on that. I had one student who did these gorgeous, beautiful etchings of hands at the same time that she was losing the ability to use her hands the way she was comfortable with. And I have another student a former student who is in this show right now, who was very generous in sharing her thoughts about how to deal with her disability in her artwork. And I guess it came down to sort of practicing what I preach. Um, I consider those students and people who are public about their struggles and put that into their artwork. I consider them to be very brave. And I guess it just no longer made sense to hide my own struggles. I don't know what the actual percentage is of people who have invisible or hidden disabilities compared to those that have visible disabilities. I suspect that as many people have hidden ones as obvious disabilities, um, but I don't know that to be true, or it might even be more have invisible disabilities. Um, so I think that we all need to remember that there's a lot out there. We don't know what anyone is dealing with in their own lives. Um, and then, you know, just because someone does have a disability, that's not the defining statement about them, about their lives. We're all much more complex people than any one factor. And I think we just need to approach life with a bit more understanding, a bit more empathy, and then we'll all benefit from that. Thanks.